Yo guys, welcome to the video. This is Josh, or Milky, and in today's video I'm going to be going over crafting in Torchlight Infinite. This is something that I've been asked about constantly on stream, whether it's how to craft a strength stacking axe, or how to craft an amulet, or the chest with the explode. I'm going to go over as many of them as I can today. I'm going to try and teach you the basics so you can apply them to your item so that you can actually just look at an item and go, I know how to craft this. I'm going to show some examples because there are some techniques that I've actually learned since the whirlwind video. So here we are in game, and to get started with crafting this game, you're going to want to talk to Mode, the arms dealer. Hit craft, and then you can select from all the items in your inventory that are craftable, and you can select them to put in here. Now in this game, energy is very important. Energy is what allows us to get more links on our items, and energy is based on the item level of the item. So you always want to be on an 85 if you're going for a really good item, and you also want to make sure it's an 85 because that's where all the tier 1 affixes are. You can't roll certain mods unless 85, as you see here. Required item level for T1 affix is 85. So that's the first thing. Make sure if you're crafting a really good item, it has to be 85. Now, in order to find the correct base that you want to craft on, obviously we know it needs to be an 85, you can use this advanced search. You're going to go to base gear, and these are actually in order of kind of how good the bases are. Not all the time, but if you look here, these are going to be your more expensive options. This first one, as you see, I'm going to be using the all magic crown for one of the crafts, but the weapon is one of the biggest ones. Everyone asks me why I put a conflict war axe as the recommended crafting base, and quite simply, scarlet axe is absolutely better, but as you can see, well, there's not even anyone. There we go, 95 FEs. They're very expensive, so it's going to cost you a lot less. You can craft on these low bases. It's this number here, it's the base DPS that's going to be lower. So now we've got the base, we're going to come on over to the crafting bench. For the first item I'm going to craft and show you is going to be the scarlet axe, the strength stacking axe, because it uses a few kind of crafty methods to save some FEs. Now, the currency that you use to craft in this game are embers. You can see them on the right here. If they have this up arrow, that means it's a prefix. The down arrow is a postfix. Some of them can only be used when you have a certain number of affixes on the item. Those would be ruling and technique. But we can actually do some creative things with the affixes we use to get to 4 in order to cheapen the cost of the item, which I'll be showing today. Ominous, Restless, these you can only be used at 6. These are the really expensive ones. And then you have Reincarnation Embers, we'll talk about them later, and Truth Embers. How the Embers work, as far as I know, is that they have a chance to add a mod and a chance to remove and add a mod. I've been told that that changes based on the number of mods on the item. Now that's useful for us because, say for example, we're making the strength stacking axe. We need strength, but it's a complete 50-50. It's a 50-50 to hit strength, and then it's a 1.71 chance within that 50-50 to hit strength. So what we can do is block dexterity. Now this does obviously make the price go up, but what's going to happen now is we use less of these embers. Now 60% of the time, if this is true, I'm working on what I believe to be true, we're going to add a mod. So 60% of the time we're going to hit strength. So if we go, we hit strength there, but we remove the mod, strength, and we would simply do this for this axe until we hit tier 1. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to do that. But as you can see, we are hitting strength more often. You can see kind of the method in the madness that blocking the dex does seem to work. We do seem to be constantly adding a roll of strength here. It's the blocking, in my opinion, definitely works. And as you can see, we hit tier 1 strength fairly quickly, but we did keep the dex. Now that's fine. On some items we get what's called a throwaway mod, and this is an example of one of them. Ruling Embers give us the opportunity to get this added gear physical damage. However, so do essence mods, but the base item cannot have 2 of the same mod, and these 2 mods, added gear physical damage, count as the same mod. So if we roll any value of added gear physical damage onto this axe, when we ruling, if we hit added gear physical damage flat, it has to remove the added gear physical damage we've already put on the item. So because of that, it's actually not going to be that expensive for us to remove the dex. You can see here we have a 1 in 5 of hitting fizz, and then essentially a 50-50 to remove the dex. So this is the part of the craft that is different to the Gyazo I had linked last time. This is something I've since kind of figured out and began to do. So we would do this, it's kind of a good hit. We would do this until we hit the gear physical damage and removed the dexterity. So there we go, we managed to hit it. It actually did take quite a few. Sometimes you can get unlucky, but that's exactly what we want. The tier of this added physical that we add does not matter. As I said, this is simply a blocking modifier, so we can get to 4 mods faster and use our ruling Ember. Now we're going to go for the soul burst. We want to hit attack speed first. Now the reason we're going to hit attack speed first is because we would love crit damage, but crit rating is absolutely fine. So we're going to use soul burst until we first hit gear attack speed, unless we miraculously hit tier 1 crit damage, which would be lovely. But of course we can realistically lose the fizz mod. If you hit this and you take off the fizz, it's absolutely fine. You can get the fizz back later. We've already used that fizz mod to do what we wanted to do. Well, half of what we wanted to do, which was to remove the decks. Now, of course, if you were doing this and you weren't just going for T1, this is still the same method you would use. Someone did ask me to craft a budget version of the axe for this video. It'd be the exact same method. You would just settle for lower tier modifiers. So when we're hitting these T3s, you'd simply just accept them and keep going. The order in which you do things is pretty uniform, whether it's expensive or not. As I say, we're going to go for all T1s just for the sake of the video to make it all nice. So we did hit gear attack critical rating here. I will save this because now this does kind of act as a block, as we mentioned earlier. And if we end up having to keep this at the end, it is what it is. It takes that many to hit. I'm fine with gear attack critical rating. It works in the build, so I accepted this on my whirlwind build when I had this axe. I will accept it now, but we do now need gear attack speed. We absolutely need gear attack speed. There is no world where we can't have that. We can kind of choose between the crit mods, gear attack speed. There's no choosing. And there we go, we hit the gear attack speed. So brilliant, we have the gear attack speed now. And now I'll show you why exactly we got this added gear physical damage. So we'd go on to the ruling, and now we're going to use rulings until we hit the added gear physical tier 1. This mod right here, the chance to cause paralysis and the flat fizz. If we do manage to hit T1 strength, we will keep it and we'll roll over it later. But those are the 2 mods that we're looking for. Here you can see the blocking working. We did obviously replace the added gear physical. We're not going to sell for T3, of course, so we'll keep going. So we hit the strength modifier. This is lovely. We're going to obviously accept that. But now the item is going to start costing FE. It's going to cost us about 80 FEs on average at this point to get that tier 1 flat fizz. This still works out cheaper to the alternative, so I don't feel too bad about doing this. It's absolutely fine. And finally we hit it. So there we go. This is our axe that we have now created. So at this point in the craft, what we are going to do is use another blocking technique, the same one we used there, and it's going to be to get this percent gear physical. So now we want to go back to our amplified embers. You can use a fossil here if you so wish. It's a 1 in 4 basically to add on gear physical, and we just need to not remove a modifier. We get physical damage there, and there's the gear physical. And then with this axe, we are completely ready to Ominous Ember. If you have 3 prefixes and 4 options, which is every ominous, if you don't have a blocking mod to kind of to take the hit when you get what you're looking for, it's simply a 1 in 12. However, this way it is a 1 in 4. So 4 Ominous Embers. Hopefully we get it quite quick. Nope, miss. And we hit it on the second one. Lovely. So there we go. We have a full tier 1 axe. Cost us a few hundred FEs to make. We did get quite unlucky with the T1 added gear physical damage, I will say that. But this is definitely the method to craft it with. You can at this point Truth Ember. So Truth Ember, as I say, it rerolls the modifiers. You get basically different numbers. So you'd want to do this until you get high strength and high gear fizz. I'll just do it with you now. In my opinion, so they're 170, 109. Sure, why not, right? That'll do. So there's the axe. That's exactly how you make the strength stacking axe. The new and updated method. So on to the next item. We're going to be going for a strength stacking explode chest. It's a bit more of a generic item, but there's no real blocks we can do here. There's nothing we can creatively do. So if you want to kind of think about how we would make this item, we're going for percent strength, we would like elemental resistances, and then flat life, percent life, and explode. That's what we're going to end up going for. So the ominous for this is actually a 1 in 12. However, we will just kind of settle for whatever we end up getting. If we do replace the max life, it is what it is. Actually, first we're going to go for the cultivation. So we're looking for T1 strength and T1% strength. No one saw that. So T1 strength. Wow, we could have had them both already. Unlucky, eh? There we go. We got quite lucky again. We hit the T1 strength. So this is exactly how I'd want to start with this item. Again, you just kind of have to do it until you get it. There's no creative way around this item. You just have to throw them on until you get it. Now for the Tenacity Ember, you can kind of settle for anything. So maybe we do this later since this is kind of the throwaway mod. You're just going to go for any resist you want. So we're going to start with what we absolutely need T1 of, which is the flat life. And as I said, there's no creative way to get around this item. So we just have to spam it until we hit, unfortunately. And we finally hit it. I actually rolled over it once as well, so that's kind of unfortunate. But there it is. That's this. I've rolled over 2 T1s on this item so far. But obviously, you won't be doing that. So we now hit the life. Perfect. And now we have a decision to make. We can either push for our elemental damage or physical damage, which is probably what we're going to go for. But if you absolutely need a resistance, if you need a T1 resistance, if you need the Ellie res, the erosion res, you would at this point do the tenacity. I'm going to assume you don't because you've got them fixed out elsewhere. So we're going to go for T1, elemental damage, or physical damage. Either one is fine. Right, so we finally got it. This one took us a while. This one took us a lot. But it was like, it's supposed to be like a 1 in 60 to hit this. I was looking at the percentages. So again, sometimes you do just get unlucky, but it is what it is. We keep going. And we also want this percent life. Now the percent life, we can check the odds. It's a 1 in 4 and then a 1 in roughly 25 for that. So it's about 100 rulings if we want to go for T1% life. So if you're going for absolutely perfect, obviously it's going to cost you a little bit. We are going to go for that, of course. We are going for perfect for the sake of the video. We would also take, there's a couple of other mods we would take from here. Physical damage converted to fire, extra physical damage taken, both very good. So we have 3 potential options to hit here, but we would ideally like that T1% life. So I would definitely take this. Physical damage taken converted to fire is fine. It's going to make you a lot tankier. I'd say it's pretty much as good as percent life. And of course there is a chance that we can lose any of these mods when we ominous later on for the explode. So I'm going to settle for that now. And we're going to go into the final mod, which is going to be a resist of your choosing. Or you can go for this tenacity blessing. So we're going to try and do that. We'll use a fossil. I'll show you how fossils work. If you apply a fossil, the acute fossil means that you are guaranteed to increase the gear affixes by 1. So we will go from 5 to 6, 100% of the time. And then if you use the spiral, it makes it so that modifier is T3 or above. But we're just going to use acute for this. And we're looking for basically any T3 res or above. Hopefully erosion or percent all elemental resistance. But we'll take what we can get at this point because it's going to get expensive. Lightning res T2 is absolutely fine. We'll certainly settle for that. And now it's time for the big boy, the ominous. So I'm going to go buy some ominous embers. Okay, so we have our ominous embers, and now of course this does get very expensive. It's 20 FEs just for the fuel cost alone, and then it's obviously an ominous, which is roughly 20 FEs as well. But this is essentially, again, a 1 in 4 because we will take explode regardless of what we remove. Active skill level is actually very good. If you want to go for active skill level, it does give you a lot of damage. You don't really need the explode to clear maps. I just like it. If you wanted to do more damage to like single target and stuff, you would definitely take the active skill level. So do consider that as an option if you are making this chest and you want to do more bossing as opposed to mapping. We got it over the physical damage taken converted to fire damage. It's definitely good. I'd probably take this, but if you did want to explode, you just have to keep going until you hit explode. I'm going to settle for this now for the sake of the video. Now we're going to go craft some items that I need for my current build. On these gloves, I want gear, energy shield, both percent and flat. Resistance, I need fire and erosion if possible. We're going to start off with the rivalries to hit the gear, energy shield. We want to hit a high tier of both. Okay, so there we got our 2 gear energy shield rolls. Did take a little bit of time, but what can you expect when it's such low odds? And we can't really do any blocking here. Obviously, once we have the gear energy shield, we are kind of blocking some of the mods with gear energy shield percent being off the table. But it's just sometimes the odds are against you if you're going for T1. But obviously, you don't have to go for T1. I'm just at the point where I like going for T1, so I don't mind sitting here for quite a long time, clicking back and forth. Just sat in this is me right now. I'm just sat in the quiet on my own, clicking back and forth. But that could be you guys. Maybe you guys are crafting your items like this right now. Good luck if you're doing it right now. I hope you hit it. But we are now going to move on to our resistances. Now, we do need fire resist. We need to hit at least tier 2. Doesn't need to be perfect. So I just need something that will fit my build. T3, I believe, is enough. So we're going to settle for T3. All right, we're going to settle for T3. As I say, this is for my build, and I'm more than happy to settle for this. I'm not going to get my erosion res capped anyway, so I'm happy with that. Now, what we can do at this point is go for the more expensive mods. Obviously, we've got things like Fervor, which is a ridiculously low chance, 0.17% chance to hit. You can do the math on how many attempts that's going to take me. We could go for Reap. Reap is a 1 in, what's that, 80? A 1 in 80 to hit, but that would be nice for us. I'm feeling pretty good about myself, so I'm going to go for the Reap. I think the Reap would be very nice. And if we luckily hit Fervor, then, well, we're going to the moon. And there we go. We actually got it pretty quickly. T1 Reap. That's exactly what we want for our build. Lovely. There's nothing more to say about it. We hit it. It was quite an unlikely hit, but we got it, so we'll take that. So we could just throw on a throwaway mod and then go for Cull. It's obviously going to be a 1 in 12, but you know, for the video, I'm down to try it. It is my item after all. This is what I want for my build. So let's go for Cull. It's a 1 in 12. We want to eliminate the block chance and get eliminate enemies under 10% life. None of the others are even good, so we can only hit the Cull, so it's literally just a 1 in 12. So on average, this is going to cost us up to 500 FEs. This is not worth it, but for the video, why not? Let's have a bit of fun. Boom. Fail. Boom. Fail. Boom. Oh no. Well, we hit it, but we covered the wrong thing. I'm not settling. No, we did it again. Nope. There we go. Okay. We hit it after 6. Very lucky, obviously, but I'm happy with that. We got Cull on our gloves. I'm super happy about that. So we'll take those. They'll slot right onto the build. When we slot those on, we go from 3.6k to 3.8k. So I'll take it. And now when we craft the helm, we're going to gain a bit more as well. Those are 3 examples of items that you can craft pretty straightforwardly. Another example that I was going to show was going to be one of these wilt daggers, but I don't think the build is popular enough for me to do this. I'd just be taking a loss. It's very expensive to make, but it is one that I made for my build, and I will be sharing this build. It is very good. I'll be sharing it over the next couple of days. It is quite expensive, and if you want me to show you how to craft a dagger, I will include that in the video, so let me know. But just finally, one thing we're going to go over is an ember that we haven't really looked at, and it's the Reincarnation Ember. Reincarnation Embers are very useful. What they do, they act sort of like a Chaos Orb in Path of Exile. So if you were to try and get those really rare mods like Fervor or Channeled Energy, what you can actually do is just use Reincarnation Embers until you hit it. You would get an item that has maybe 2 or 3 mods on it in the post fixes for the Channeled Energy or in the Fervor, and you would just hit them with Reincarns until you hit. It's still quite unlikely. It's still quite expensive. The alternative, of course, being just to buy them. I'll show you how much they are right now. They are... Oh, we have some here. But these are the ones that people want to buy because you can craft them up yourself. It's going to be very cheap just to get rid of this lightning res and get something you want. So ideally, if you could get them like this, you can. If not, Reincarnation Embers are your friend. You would just find an item with 3 post fixes and you'd Reincarnation Ember until you hit. So that's how you maybe want to use those. Now, I hope this video has been helpful. It's a bit more of a longer video than I'm used to doing. I tried to stay on topic and try and include as many little tips as I could. The crafting in this game, I would consider to be quite straightforward once you get used to it. And I hope this video helps you guys get more used to it so you can start to experiment with more items and whatnot. Now, if you did enjoy the video and you made it this far into it, please leave a like, maybe subscribe if you enjoyed it that much. And I will be live very shortly on twitch.tv/MilkyBK. Head on over there, give me a follow, and you'll catch me when I go live. See you later.